Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized, verse number 54. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Nasta prayeshu apadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Hri Om Tat Sat. Arjuna Vacha Sthita Pragnasya Kavasha Samadhistasya Kesava Sthitadi Kim Prabhaseta Kim Asita Vrajeta Kim. Arjuna Vacha.
Repeat after the devotees can repeat after when you say.
Okay.
Even including the translation so that everybody is.
Arjuna Vacha
Arjuna Vacha
Sthita Pragnasya Kapasha Samadhistasya Kesava Sthitadi Kim Prabhaseta Kim Asita Vrajeta Kim. Arjuna Vacha Sthita Pragnasya Kavasha Samadhistasya Kesava Sthitadi Kim Prabhaseta Kim Asita Vrajeta Kim. Word to word translation. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Sthita Pragnasya, of one who is situated in fixed Krishna consciousness. Ka. What? Bhasha. Language. Samadhi. Stasya. Of one situated in trance. Kesava. O Krishna. Sthitadi. One fixed in Krishna consciousness. Kim. What? Prabhaseta. Speaks. Kim. How? Asita. Does remain still. Vrajeta. Walks. Kim. How? Translation by Divine Grace is Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Please repeat. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence. How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Okay, purport by Prabhupada. As there are symptoms of each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man. As a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known as diseased. Or as a learned man has his symptoms. So as a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has his specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptom from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is where did I lose? He said that fool man in Krishna speaks, for speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below. So, stop here, we will try to understand what Krishna is trying to tell here. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Sarakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yatkrupa Tamham Vande Sri Gurum Denatarim Paramananda Madhamam Sri Chaitanya Iswam Om Tat Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. So here in this chapter 2, discussing verse number 54, very important verse, Samadhi. So Arjuna is asking first question. So before that the context is where after Arjuna sat down on his chariot, bewildered by being in the bodily concept of life, and he gave his various 5 reasons for not doing his duty. And then when he understood that he had defects, he couldn't move further, he couldn't decide what to do. And then he surrendered to his spiritual master. So there was a pre-qualification to come to that point. For whole first chapter is giving that various indications of Arjuna's conditioning and Arjuna's doubts and questions. Then finally he surrendered. So that is a pre-qualification to come to that point, to understand his defects, his conditioning, that he needs someone else for his assistance to move forward in a positive direction. So that was the first section. Section number 2 is 2.7, where Arjuna surrendered to his spiritual master, here Krishna himself. Then she is asking him to guide him permanently, eternal benefit, understanding his defects, and he already mentioned he is in miserly weakness. So he is submitting himself as a servant or a person who has a weakness and who is also inquisitive to understand the absolute truth. So that was the qualification. Then next section began after Krishna started giving instruction. Very important verse, and then that verse and this verse has a connection if you look at very closely. So Sri Bhagavan Vach Asochananda Sochastam Prajna Vadansya Vase Prajna Vadansya Vase Agatasun Gatasun Nanu Sochantu Pandita. So from there Krishna started explaining about the Sankhya Yoga, difference between the body and soul in various different ways. basically Jnana is very important, Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Then Krishna started giving instruction about the Karma Yoga or Swadharma, verse number 30 to 39 in the next section. Then he started giving instructions about, that means he also had removed the doubts Arjuna has expressed, that he mentioned he has compassion, I don't want to fight because of my family members, that he removed. Your compassion is like a drowning man, you are trying to save the court, it is not going to help. Rather you are supposed to help the actual person. The same way here, not for your own family members, but rest of the people you are supposed to have Kshatriya. So that he explained in detail in this first section, number Sankhya Yoga section. But then he also removed his doubt of the no enjoyment. Rather, Krishna mentioned in section 3 and 4, this 3 Sankhya Yoga, and also in section 4 of Swadharma. If you don't do your duty of not fighting as a Kshatriya, you will incur sinful activities. So number 2 and number 3 doubts of no enjoyment and sinful activities, both Krishna addressed in 2.25 and also in this verse number 30 to 39. Krishna is clearly mentioning, you as a Kshatriya, you are supposed to perform your duty. If you don't perform, then you will incur sinful activity, you will also enter into hell. But if you fight, even if you kill, then you will go to heavenly planets. If you win, you will go to enjoy. So either way, it is beneficial. So you should perform your duty without looking at the result. So in that way, Krishna mentions about Swadharma, karma. So then further Krishna is establishing, coming to the next point of Nishkama Karma Yoga, section verse number. Before that, Krishna is giving another section, small section, giving the benefits. Why should we perform? Why should I perform? I am doing the work, I am getting the result, I am supposed to enjoy the result. Why should I give up the result? Why should I not attach to the results? So Krishna is, if you do that, then this is the greatest benefit. You are going to get eternal benefit. You will not be lost. Your credits will be stay for in the next life. So you will benefit from that. At least you will get human birth, and also you will be born in the Brahmana or Vaishya family where you don't need, you already have certain bank balance so that you can start from where you left off in the previous life. So that way Krishna is giving that assurance in the beginning of this section of Nishkama Karma. Then Krishna started explaining that you shouldn't be attached to the result, you should perform your duty. First of all, you don't have adhikar. You have only adhikar to perform your duty using the 2.47 very famous verse of Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phalesh pradachana. So don't be attached to your duty, don't be attached to the not doing duty, and don't be attached to the results, and perform your duty. So in that way Krishna started explaining. Then further Krishna is going from all the way from 49, he is entering into the Bhakti Yoga, glimpse of Bhakti Yoga, and then Samadhi section. So this is the last section in this. It's a very important section. If you carefully observe verse number 49 onwards, Krishna is using buddhi so many times, left and right. Durena avaram karmam buddhi yukto jahatita subhe duskrute sukhe duskrute. So in many ways Krishna is using this buddhi in so many different ways, and Arjuna finally mentions one must be situated in transcendence or samadhi. Yada stasya achala buddhi samadhi achala buddhi. So in 53 verse, now Arjuna got a doubt, Arjuna had a question now. So what Krishna is speaking, what exactly, who is this person, what is the symptoms? So that's why Arjuna is asking, and on the first verse Krishna is speaking, Prajna Vadansya Vasya. So that's why, so who is that learned person, who is that most intelligent person, or the person who is situated in divine consciousness? So where it is mentioned as Arjuna Vaja, but what is the verse? Arjuna Vaja. Yeah, Sthita Pragnasya ka Vaja, Samadhistasya Kesava, Kim Pravase, Samadhistasya, Sthitadi Kim Pravaseta, Kim Prajeta, Kim Asita, Kim Prajeta, Kim. Yeah, Kim Asita, Prajeta, Kim. So here Sthita Prajna means one who is situated in Krishna consciousness, fixed in Krishna consciousness. And Bhasha, yeah, the 4 questions are asked. What is his language? First question, language. So this verse can be discussed in so many different ways. so many different flavors. Probably it can be discussed over a month. So that much talk, because samadhi is not easy. So Prabhupada quoting Sridhara Swami, samadhi's definition is samyak adiyate asmin atma tattvam yatatmyam, concentrated attention or complete absorption in the supreme absolute truth with undeviated mind. So in many places it is explained, the yogis are also trying to come to that stage of from yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, finally coming to the samadhi. So they are also through the yoga process, Ashtanga yoga, Hatha yoga process. But Rupa Goswami also explains in Nectar of Instruction book of 11 verses, in the 8th verse, how to come to this stage of samadhi. So if you look at in one way, this verse is telling, first of all, this has activities. Samadhi doesn't mean that there are no activities. That means there is a melos, there is a rasas. That's why the language. What is the language? The language is that melos, the rasas, the exchange of rasa, exchange of activities. The Supreme Lord with the devotees, all the living entities, or the living entities in exchange and performing various activities to the Supreme Lord for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Where Rupa Goswami is mentioning that Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati, that kriyatam api labhyate janma kodi sukruta virna labhyate tatra ekala mulyam laulyam. So we need intense greed. So this one way is actually that bhasha language is the Bhagavad Bhakti in the various rasas, primary and secondary rasas. Those are the actual language. This is at the one of the level we can look at. And then how does he speak? How does he sit? That doesn't mean literally how he sits. It's not actually the in yoga postures or something. Rather, it is talking. Arjuna is asking, specifically is talking about the actual activities. How does he behave when he's, or how does he speak? What is his character? How does he speak? And Prabhupada is explaining further on that. And means those who are less intelligent, those who are not aware of the absolute truth, or not are fully conditioned. So as soon as they start speaking, then immediately the people can understand he is such a fool. So and Prabhupada quotes that Tavaccha sovate murkho yavat kinchan nabhasata. So immediately people can identify how much he is known. Like a lawyer tries to quote various verses, various law codes in arguing in the courts. So then they know how much he is experienced, whether he is knows his subject or not. So by how much he knows. Same way the person who is fully in Krishna consciousness, based on his speech, people can immediately identify. So not only his speech, that's why Arjuna is asking, Kim Prabhaset, Kim Masit, how does he sit? How does he situate himself? That means it is not only speech. Yes, speech can be great, because many times we get bewildered or allured also by the speech. Many people may know how to speak very well eloquently, the scholarly language and everything. But if he is not situated properly actually in divine consciousness, and also his activities are not on that platform, that means the achar and vichar both has to be on the same platform. By just like looking at the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, when he came to Varanasi, Maharashtra Brahman was very much lamenting that so many people are criticizing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and devotees because they are chanting and performing devotional activity, worshipping the Lord. So they are very much critical because they are into so much study of Vedanta, Upanishads, and Vedic scriptures. They are into that. So they are criticizing, they are worshipping the impersonal Brahman. So then he was so much lamenting about it. How can we rectify this situation? Then he invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he invited all these Varanasi devotees to that place, one place. And then he invited Mahaprabhu also, because he wanted Mahaprabhu to give the mercy to these, convert all of them to the personalist from impersonalist. So when this happened, so after the first time it happened, but this I am talking about the second time incident where one of the devotee of Prakashananda Saraswati, a stalwart devotee of the impersonalism. So he was a very expert. So many thousands of disciples he has. Out of that, one of the disciples understood who is Supreme Lord actually, what is the supreme absolute truth in full, not the impersonalist, not the Brahman realization, but Paramatma, Bhagavan coming to the highest level. When he understood that, then he was also there. Then he was offering his obeisances. He was also chanting along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Prakashananda Saraswati got to know. He explained the glories of the Supreme Lord. Then he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and surrendered, and he offered his prayers. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "You are the Supreme Master, so I am not qualified to be, I am not even qualified to be your servant of your disciple. You are the master of all the impersonal Brahmajyoti. So you are the great, you shouldn't be offering obeisances to me. So rather I should be offering obeisances." So he offered the prayers at his lotus feet. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is showing by his exemplary behavior with humility, the humbleness. How does he speak? How does he situate himself? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came especially as a devotee to exemplify how a devotee should behave and how he should deal with Vaishnavas and devotees. So that's what I want to mention, that specific pastime. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think last chapter in Madhya Leela, I think chapter number 25, I think, Varanasi, converting impersonalist into personalist. So very wonderful descriptions are there. Anyway, so the one description, one understanding from this is the samadhi as the melos or rasas is the language, and then you are getting on to the speech and walk, and how does he how does he perform his activities. There is like a more also in the Sambandha and Abhideya and Prayojana. Abhideya is after knowing. The speech means language. That means there are understanding the relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord and devotees. So in that way also you can understand. You can also understand there is also a quality of advanced devotee. Who will be situated in divine consciousness? Only advanced devotee, which explains, Rupa Goswami explains in great detail the qualities of advanced devotee of who has forgiveness and kshama, and who is nama gana sadaruchi, is fully tasting, he is fully attained the taste for a holy name, nama, gana and kirtan, sada, always, not just chanting 16 rounds. He is always fully remembering and situated always in that consciousness. Abhyartha kalatam is very much time managing. Time management is, he doesn't waste any single minute. Pritita vasati stale, he is always stays in a holy place, or he makes his home, wherever he is always carrying the Lord in his heart. So pritita vasati stale, and then abhyartha kalatam virakti, and he has complete detachment of all worldly things. And mana sunyata, which we were discussing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's quality of he always giving respect to others, even though he himself is the Supreme Lord, but he is showing by his example. And as we see in the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna showing his example also to when Narada Muni walked in, when even Sandip, not Sandip, so few other examples also we see that Brahmana came in, delivering Rukmini's message. That time also he massaged the feet, he worshipped him, he did arati and he fed him. There was so much. So Krishna is always showing by his own personal example how to behave. Manasuna, giving respect always to others, not expecting respect. So this is the Manasuna, advanced devotee. And then Asavana is always hoping that Krishna will always protect him. He has the full hope at all circumstances, and fully eager to receive, eager to meet, to converse, to understand, to serve the Lord, the laulyam, the greed, the eagerness, and also the complete attachment to the Lord and his devotees. So in this way, this verse also can be looked at, because unless this who is in divine consciousness, he doesn't have these qualities, then he cannot be situated. And there is also can be looked at one who is above the three modes, because that means here this verse is talking about the speech, the walk, and his how does he sit. That means he should be above this karma and jnana and yoga platform. He should be completely, fully in pure bhakti platform. That means he should be above this illusion at the sense, and means karmendriyas. So he is full of all his indriyas, all his senses, karmendriyas, fully engaged in the Supreme Lord. Whether it's the eyes or the ears, the touch, the tongue, tongue and ears and nose, eyes, all these karmendriyas or the jnanendriyas, these are, and karmendriyas, hands, legs and genitals. So everything is engaged in Supreme Lord service. So he is above these material attachments and above these three modes of material nature, karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, and he is above even the mind's business. About we were discussing other day about the quality, different types of mind. He is fully absorbed. He is in the last stage of niruda mind, fully absorption, 100% absorption in the mind, in Krishna's service, Krishna's activities. So that is called niruda stage. He is not in monkey mind. He is not in kshipta, vikshipta, or not even ekagrata, but he is above that. So the monkey or donkey or butterfly, so these various examples are there. But he is fully in the fifth stage of mind, fully in niruda, means fully absorption in the mind of Krishna conscious activities, thinking. And further, even in his intelligence, there are 9 or 10 types of intelligence of cognitive faculties. He is always thinking, feeling, willing. There is mind, and his intelligence also fully, always how to use his energy and resources and time in Krishna, how to expand this mission. So in this way, so we can look at this verse in so many different ways. This also can be Visuddha Sattva, can mean Sattvam Visuddham Vasudeva Sabdidam Bhagavan Mano Vidiyate. Lord Shiva is explaining how when he entered into Daksha Prajapati, is doing Yajna, and Daksha walked into the assembly, everybody stood up, but only Lord Shiva and Brahma didn't stood up, because Brahma is his father, obviously he didn't stood up, but Lord Shiva was completely in meditation of Vasudeva, so that's why Daksha got upset. So at that time, later on, Brahma went and satisfied Lord Shiva. After he got upset, Lord Shiva got up. Daksha created a big havoc, and he was killed in that Lord Shiva's associates, and fight between this Daksha Prajapati associates. But after that, all of the demigods went and satisfied Lord Shiva. And then that time, so there is this beautiful prayer Lord Shiva is mentioning how he is situated in this divine consciousness or meditation on Lord Vasudeva, Samadhi. So that is another way to look at this verse. And another way to look at is also how means dovetailing all activities. So one who is in divine consciousness, like Ambarisha Maharaj, how he dovetailed everything. Savai Mana Krishna Padaram, Vaikunta Vachams Gunanu Varnane. So every limb of his body, even though he is wealthy, he is king, he has so much opulence, but he engaged everything in Krishna's service. So in so many ways, there are many other ways, but we want to get to the details of it. So the one example we can look at is Lord Krishna is mentioning to Uddhava in 11th canto about the Avaduta Brahmana, is giving the examples of these various gurus. In that wonderful examples are there. So one looking at earth is also another example of giving a tolerance. How earth is tolerating. There's so many difficulties, so many kings or so many people are doing this oil drilling, atomic bombs, unwanted wars, so much unnecessary and sinful activities, but still earth is tolerating. And how Srila Prabhupada has tolerated so many difficulties throughout his wherever in this whole world when he was expanding this Krishna conscious activities, especially in Western world, much more. So even in Hawaii, Srutakirti Prabhu was mentioning, in Hawaii there was a beautiful temple was built, but after a few years, then the whole temple, the president took all the money and he left his post and he never came back. So then devotees had to be sent out there to again put everything back. So now we still have the beautiful temple in Hawaii. Things are going on well. So at that time, then Prabhupada went in to, Prabhupada called, he tolerated all that. And Prabhupada called the devotee. He wanted to meet. He is completely left and he is somewhere else. He is engaged in some other regular activities like anybody else. But Prabhupada wanted to meet him. Prabhupada wanted to know, in his humble position, in humility, he was asking, he wanted to know, did I do something? What did I do wrong? So the Supreme Father, so much merciful. I am not Lord Chaitanya. I am not Lord Nityananda. I need everybody. They can perform single-handedly. They don't need anyone else. But I need every one of you. Anything I can do, anything I can correct. So did I do something wrong? So in various ways, so how much he tolerated this difficulty, how much he is compassionate, how much he is ready to give his mercy. So we can see this example of earth, and we can see all these qualities which I am going to describe. So are in the still Prabhupada's example, we can clearly, so many, hundreds of examples. I just give one example, like the tolerance. Then another example of another guru, mountain. How mountain serves in so many different ways. It gives the herbs and medicines and water and fruits and vegetables on the mountain. A mountain serves everything in its capacity, to the best of its capacity. Same with the devotee, he uses everything, all efforts in serving the Lord. And in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is mentioning to Arjuna when he asked whether what is the best, impersonal or personal. Even in the 11th chapter, at the end of the 11th chapter of Universal Form, also 55 verse, essence of Bhagavad Gita, even that verse also saying the same thing. 3.30 also saying the same thing. Yastu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matpara ananya naiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. We should dovetail all our activities in Krishna's service somehow or the other. So in that way, how mountain is dovetailing all the activities. And we can see clearly how Ambaresh Maharaj is dovetailed, and we can clearly where Prabhupada was quoting Madhvacharya. Parartha ekanta sambhava, how he uses everything, utilizes wealth, resources and time in Krishna's service and his devotees, especially in spiritual master and supreme lord service. Parartha sambhava. So same as Prabhupada, you can see, to please his spiritual master, he was fully satisfied at Radha Damodaram. He doesn't need to come, he doesn't need to travel. But he traveled just to dovetail everybody, all the living entities to in Krishna service, in his spiritual master service. He has taken the task of his spiritual master instruction to the heart, to the fullest extent. So we can see that from this. And then the next example is given as how the devotee is neutral, like a wind. Wind is external manifestation, Prabhupada is mentioning, and then the prana, the life air inside our body, all living entities, is internal manifestation. External manifestation is wind, and internal is the prana, air. So the wind is neutral. Wind is carrying sometimes nice smell, sometimes bad smell also, but that is not coming from wind. Wind is not the source of this bad or good smell, but it is always neutral. Same as Sri Prabhupada is neutral. He was not agitated by any positive or negative. Sometimes many difficulties, many times in the beginning, especially in many places, devotees were imprisoned, devotees were tortured. Even recently also we heard, right, from Russia. So this is at least much better now. In Prabhupada's time, in the early days, so much botheration, so much Prabhupada has to face. But he was completely neutral. He was not agitated. And devotees are also, even in prison, Sutta Kirti Prabhupada was mentioning, they were put in prison, I think Denver or somewhere else. They are all being put in prison. And then what did they do? They started chanting, and then not only that, they were starting within their mind, they were preparing a love feast, 8 or 10 devotees, they put them in prison, and they are completely immersed in devotional activities within their mind, within their whatever, even though they don't have physically nothing in the prison, but they simply they are chanting, and they couldn't tolerate it. They couldn't take it anymore. Then they released them. So in this way, so the devotees, wherever they are neutral. They are not agitated by the pleasure or pain, the surroundings, the external circumstances. And just like the wind doesn't mix with the aromas, same way, so the devotee also doesn't get agitated, or doesn't get mixed. Just like the soul and the body is different. The body is not attached to the body, is not mixed with soul. So same way, the soul is asangoyam purusha, Prabhupada explains. So that means it is different from the body. Soul is different from these temporary bodies. The same way the wind. So wind is always neutral. Same way the soul, the person who is situated in divine consciousness, now Sri Prabhupada and exalted devotees are situated always in neutral. They are not agitated by it. So and then next example is the water. How water purifies the living entity. As soon as we do Om Apavitra Paitrova, so we take the water and then we purify ourselves. We take bath 3 times to minimum 2 times. Prabhupada used to take 3 times. Morning, after his massage, in the afternoon, in the evening. That's what's supposed to be done. But at least we should take 2. 3 times not possible in this modern day world. We are all working in IT or something or other. But water basically freeing our contamination. Basically whatever, because we might work. So when you take bath, we are clearing up the mind and brain, whatever unwanted thoughts, so that we'll be situated in a little bit in peacefulness. So that's why water purifies. Same way the devotee is always always free of the contamination and gentle by his speech and by his sound vibration. He is carrying that quality of uncontamination. It is always purifying, just like the water is purifying, and the saintly person, the devotee, is always purifying all others. Like how Srila Prabhupada purified so many. Mahat Sevam Dvar Mahur Vimukte Yoshitam Sangi Sangam Mahantascha Samanvayoye Mahantascha Samachitta Prashant Samanvaye Sadhava. So the great devotees, the exalted souls, Mahajanas, always by their association we get purified. And by associating with unwanted people, are those who are too much attached to the material things, then we get dragged down to even further more implicated by this material conditioning. Like Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, how they got implicated more and more. Even though Krishna instructed, Vyasadeva instructed, Dhaumya instructed, so many exalted people instructed, devotees instructed, still they couldn't take it up because their sinful activities more and more increasing, all the pious traits are gone, then nothing will sink in into the brain. Brain became dull. Esham antakaram papam jananam punya karma. Unless we give up sinful activity, there is no way living entity can take up Krishna consciousness. They cannot come. So Krishna is clearly mentioning, Shastra is also clear. So that's why they couldn't grasp, they couldn't understand what Krishna or any of these exalted devotees are speaking. Anyway, so the water is like how it purifies, same way the exalted devotees purifies the living entities, like how Srila Prabhupada purified so many souls. So that's why we are here today. So that is the quality of water, and it is like a transparent. Same way the devotee's heart is also like a transparent. He doesn't say something outside and internally in his heart he is thinking something else. He doesn't have the duplicitous nature, so crooked nature like Duryodhana had. So the next quality is mentioned as fire. How fire is unshakable and not affected. Same way the devotee is not affected, and it also regulation. When you do in the yajna, we offer various grains and things in a regulated way. We perform the yajna. It takes fire is accepting only whatever comes in that regulated activities. Same with the living entity also, the devotee who is situated in divine consciousness accepts in a regulated way, performs his activities in a regulated way, everything. And even whatever things he gets, he distributes. He doesn't keep, so he doesn't get affected by that. So that is what we can see clearly. And also like a fire. So as Prabhupada mentions that just like the fire, it doesn't see whether you are a child or something, it can burn. And in the same way, one who is carelessly offending or doing unwanted activities to the spiritual master, offending activities, then Lord Krishna cannot tolerate it. So we have to be careful. So it is like a razor edge. So especially those who are dedicated their life in Krishna conscious activities, spiritual master, advanced devotee. So we should be careful. Otherwise, like a fire, our consciousness can get burned up, especially our credits can be burned up like a mad elephant entering into the garden. It can break everything, create a chaos, same way. So our consciousness is, so then we will immediately give up our Krishna conscious because all our pious credits are gone because of our tendency to criticize the advanced devotee, the greatest servant of the Lord, Sevaka Bhagavan, servant Godhead. So then we also see the moon example. Moon doesn't get affected. Sometimes in a full moon, sometimes it goes through the circles through different days, waxing and waning. It doesn't affect the moon actually. Same way, so the body doesn't affect the soul. So many we go through up and downs, and pure devotee doesn't get affected. Fully fixed in Krishna conscious. So sometimes there are difficulties. Sometimes situation is not congenial. So sometimes he may have to go and preach in different areas like China, and I think Srutakirti Prabhu was mentioning some place they have to go. I think they have to go. No food, no vegetarian was available. They have to eat. Prabhupada said, let go and preach. You can eat meat, no problem. I'm giving you the. So because preaching is the important for that. Even his spiritual master also mentioned that. Because sometimes what to do. So the situation arises, spiritual master instruction will automatically deliver any simple activities we have to go through, so that we will be delivered from. So the instruction carries the potency of the Supreme Lord directly. So by chanting the pranam mantra of Guru, automatically offering is done actually. And that also means not every day we shouldn't do that. But in some cases, by simply chanting pranam mantra of Guru itself, offering can be done. The next example is sun. How sun evaporates the everything, the water. It doesn't, all the contamination it removes. Same way, and it also not only evaporating, like it takes in the ocean, river water gets evaporated, and then in the form of again it brings the rain water. It returns. Same way the pure devotee, the spiritual master who is situated in divine consciousness, he absorbs all the bad qualities, but he doesn't get contaminated. But then he gives back his positive qualities. So by associating with them, he is absorbing our. So that's why people want to touch the feet of the sadhus, advanced devotees, because that means he is taking the karma of those devotees, and then he is giving back the positive qualities, the positive credits. So that is just like the sun does it. Same way the pure devotee and Srila Prabhupada, you can imagine those people, those devotees who got in touch with Prabhupada, just even fraction of seconds, or his remnants. So they are all purified. So they became advanced devotees. So that is the power of a sun, that is the power of advanced devotee. And then because of time, the last one, there are many, there are 24 gurus. I explained only few. So the pigeon, so with that we can stop. The pigeon example is like give up. The pure devotees are not excessively attached, are not at all attached to the material things. So they always are fully aware of how everything belongs to Krishna. But those who are on the oppositely, those who are not situated, they are fully attached to, like the pigeon example is given, the male and female. So both are captivated by the beauty. Male was captivated by the female pigeon. So with their beauty and talk and speech, and it's all activity. Then later on, then they will have children, and then they are so much captivated by their talk or their language. We see that in our own lives. So when the kids are small, we get whatever they are wearing, whatever they are saying, each and every word, we record it, we take so many pictures, especially in the beginning years, we have so many memories and pictures and so many things. So same way here also the pigeon was, though both male and female pigeon, so whatever, male was so much attached to the female pigeon that female pigeon sometimes used to ask for many things which are very difficult, but because of the attraction for the female pigeon, male pigeon used to go and get those things, whatever she was asking. So later on they had kids, and then one day they went, both of them, and Prabhupada explains in some other place where Shrutakirti Prabhu was mentioning Prabhupada's example. Prabhupada one time he mentioned these birds are the various living entities, birds, pigeons, they are cuckoos, different types of birds. They come in the morning, as soon as they wake up, they talk where they are going to get food. They talk in their own language. And when they come back in the evening, they discuss among themselves where they got the food, where and all they went and where they got food. So in this way, that is their language, the Bhasha, it is mentioned. But the pure devotees always talking about Krishna, how to advance, how we can expand this mission. That is the pure devotees quality. Like how Srila Prabhupada is always looking, go and open the center here, go and expand this mission here, go and distribute this book. Always, Prabhupada is always instructing, build this TOVP. So many instructions, hundreds of instructions. Wherever Mahaprabhu went in, all these places, put the lotus imprints of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even now also many places it is not there. Only in some places it is established. In Simhachalam, in Vizag, in Tamil Nadu, the big temple, Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple and few other places it is good. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went so many places, it is lost. So many instructions Prabhupada has given to basically expand this mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, expand the mission of Krishna consciousness. But here the pigeon was attached in this way. When they came back, they went to get the food for the children. When they came back, then these children, the hunter saw the children and then they put some food. They got attracted and then they were trapped in a net. And then as soon as the female bird saw, she was so much attached to the children, then immediately she went to help and then she was also caught. And the male bird saw all this and then he was so much aggravated and agitated and thinking, finally he also, what will I do without my wife, without my children? So many years I spent and so I cannot do anything alone. So in that way thinking, then he also went there and then he also got caught, and in this way, so they were, because of this excessive attachment, how it creates greatest danger of how we get implicated and then life after life changing different bodies. So in this way we understand actually how we should be situated. The Samadhi stage here clearly mentioning how we should be situated in divine consciousness, in these various qualities and these various examples. So these are all lessons to be learned, to implement in our life, to be always come to this practice in a regulated way, yuktahara viharasya yukta chetasukha, regulated way, so that we can perfect our lives. So, with that I will stop here. Any questions, comments? Much more to say, as I mentioned. We can discuss this whole month just about this verse. Any reflections, questions, corrections? Speak up, Prabhu. Not able to hear.
Krishna?
Yeah, now much better.
Okay, so thank you so much, Prabhu, for having me on.
Okay, Prabhupada ki jai.
Qualities and depending on gurus and how to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So that's wonderful. I would like to request if anybody would like to add a comment, so please unmute and please add your reflection. It's we have time to please discuss. Reflections, comments, please go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji. I thought someone said come to me.
Oh, I see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone else has any questions, comments, or reflections?
11th canto, the same God Sri Krishna is completely recovered. That's the section of the essential.
Prabhu, your voice is not clear. If you can speak up.